Street Fighter 6. Only a little less than 2 months away. You have no idea how hyped I am for this game. And I figured it might be kind of fun to just sort of predict what characters I think are going to make it into Street Fighter 6. Because we've just been given the full starter base roster. So now's as good a time as any to get my thoughts on which characters I think they're going to bring in from the games of old. You know, of course, assuming that they don't create brand new characters that they'll introduce, which I'm sure they will. So as far as like the future of Street Fighter goes, like I feel like this game, right, Street Fighter 6, really is going to be like the launching point for a new string of games. You know, when like Street Fighter 7 comes around eventually, I feel like it's not going to look back on like, you know, Third Strike, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5. I feel like we've moved past all that. This is a brand new direction for the series. So as such, I felt that DLC characters are really important for the future of Street Fighter. I mean, you know, I love Ryu and Chun-Li as much as everyone else. But in the case of long-term success, in my opinion, like you're really going to need to expand on other past characters as well. And I feel like, you know, this game is going to sort of, I feel like, pass the torch, if you know what I mean. Because, I mean, if you look at the box art of Street Fighter 6, who's on the front logo? Or who's on the cover? It's Luke. It's not Ryu. Ryu's not on the brand new logo. Or the brand new box art, I suppose, is the right term there. So, I mean, like, if that doesn't signal to you that, like, you know, some fresh faces are going to be popping up, or at the very least, old faces giving spotlight, you are sorely mistaken. And of course, you know, along with any brand new characters Capcom creates, like I'm just going to list off like DLC characters from games of old who I feel like, in my opinion, have a realistic shot of being DLC. But also, it's like an amalgamation. This video is going to be an amalgamation of characters who I think have a real shot of being actually DLC characters, characters I want, and then characters who actually like deserve a chance in the spotlight, who maybe I don't personally would want to see myself, but I feel like could be interesting, you know, to bring into this like new era of Street Fighter, as opposed to some of the older favorites. Now, of course, you know, there's some obvious picks that I'm sure Capcom is like looking at first and foremost that didn't make the cut here. You know, like Balrog, Vega, Sagat, Alex, Karen, Ibuki, Sakura, you know, those, you know, characters that like more than likely are probably going to like transfer over from Street Fighter 5 really easily. But I also feel like, sorry, before I, God, I'm trying to speak like 3 different sentences at once. I'm also going to pick characters, like as far as like realistic shot of being DLC goes, like, you know, you're probably not going to see characters like 12 or Oro, Q, Necro, you know, those kind of characters. I seriously doubt, like in this new realistic style that Street Fighter 6 is going for, that's not really going to be the cast of characters they're going to go for. But you know what, enough rambling, even though that's the name of the show. Let's finally get into talking about the characters. So the first character, if you couldn't tell, you know, the character, you know, on the thumbnail, the character I've talked ad nauseum about, who is my favorite Street Fighter character of all time, of course, you gotta have Remy. And I mean, I feel like Remy really is an obvious pick, or he should be an obvious pick for like an old character to be given the spotlight, you know, because listen, you know, I'll be the first to tell you that I know that like Remy is considered in the bottom 3 of the Third Strike tier list. You know, he's right there next to 12 and Sean, and I feel like he really is a character who has potential in this style. Like obviously you need to like fix his moveset more or less and like adapt his character, but I really feel like if there was ever a time to bring back like a fringe pick character, it would be Remy. And I'm not alone on this. I've seen plenty of discussion online that like people want Remy to have like sort of a redemption or a second chance. Because like I feel like they kind of screwed him over in Third Strike. Like he has potential, and I think he's cool. Obviously, like Remy deserves a chance to shine. And if I could pick any character from my list of characters here that I really, really want to see be in Street Fighter 6, it would be Remy. So yeah, if anyone at Capcom watches this, I'm sure they've probably already lined up all their DLC plans. But if not, my vote is for Remy. If you have a public vote on which character should get in, I vote for Remy. Alright, next up. Oh, and then this isn't really in any sort of order, by the way. I mean, Remy was obviously going to be at the top of my list. But, like, the rest of these characters I'm going to talk about, like, it's not really in any order of, like, who I would want to see. It's just sort of characters I compiled in a list. So next up, we have, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but I really hope we get to see DeCapri in Street Fighter 6. You know, basically, right, evil Cammy, quote-unquote. And I feel like DeCapri kind of gets a bad rap. Like, I feel like she also maybe was a bit underutilized, but I feel like for Street Fighter 6, and this is, like, just based off what I've seen, I could be completely wrong, but it seems like there's not going to be any, like, Shadaloo in Street Fighter 6, so I feel like that would give DeCapri plenty of time to shine and, like, become her own character. And what I mean by that is, like, I don't want her to just be, like, you know, a second Cammy in the game. I feel like it'd be a lot more interesting, like, to kind of redesign DeCapri, give her, like, a more unique fighting style to Cammy. And I just feel like she's a character that has potential. A lot of these characters I feel like have potential. But DeCapri I feel like has the highest level of potential for, like, an interesting arc moving past the events of Street Fighter V. So next up we have Makoto. Obviously, you know, from Third Strike. And the thing is, right, I feel like a lot of the Street Fighter 4 characters who didn't make it into Street Fighter 5, like, have an in that front. I feel like Makoto is kind of like at the top of that list of Street Fighter 4 characters. I feel like she would have the smoothest transition. I feel like, you know, she's not, like, on the crazier side of Street Fighter characters. Like, I feel like she has an easier route to get into Street Fighter 6 with, like, the more realistic style and such. Yeah, like, you just make her, like, buff and strong. Make her a heavy hitter. Like, I feel like that would be cool. Even though, like, I don't really play heavy or, like, grapple characters often, I feel like Makoto would be cool. And I also think it's important to have a variety of playstyles. So I vote for Makoto to come in from Street Fighter 4. Similarly, here's another character from Street Fighter 4 that I think a lot of people were kind of upset wasn't in Street Fighter 5, if I'm correct, was C. Viper. Oh yeah, by the way, also, I should probably mention this, like, if in canon or something any of these characters are dead, and, like, it's impossible for them to be in the game, or they're from, like, you know, like, Final Fight or something, and I've put them on the list, I mean, you know, DLC characters, who cares? I'm putting in characters, remember, it's an amalgamation of characters I think have a realistic shot, characters I want, and characters that I think have potential even if I wouldn't want to see them personally. And in the case of C. Viper, I feel like she's a character that, similar to Makoto, has an in, because, like, she was popular, she was in Street Fighter 4, I feel like it'd be a smooth transition, she's not, like, too crazy of a character in her own right, and yeah, hell, I don't know, just bring in C. Viper, that'd be cool. Alright, now here's a pick. Here's a pick that probably isn't likely, but I personally would want to see, just because I think it'd be really funny. I really hope that we get to see G come back. You know, tall Abe Lincoln man. I really hope we get to see G. Like, no real reason, I just think he'd be funny. Just, like, you know, in a more realistic style, just to see G walking around, I think that'd be just, mwah, fantastic. Alright, next up we have a character that I really do want to see is Rainbow Mika. And the thing is, I know for a fact that, like, Rainbow Mika probably, unfortunately, might not have the best chance of getting in because, you know, blah blah blah, controversy, design, yada yada yada, boo hoo. You know, people are gonna throw a tantrum over Rainbow Mika if she gets in, blah 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 blah, all that nonsense. And it's like, you know, the people who are like, oh, Rainbow Mika, she's just fan service, is like, clearly, like, even with me, like, I personally didn't think Rainbow Mika was an interesting character, and then I watched the Street Fighter V cutscenes and the story and her story, and I actually like her as a character. I think she's a fun character. And if, you know, if you're gonna overlook all of that because you'd think that she's just fan service galore, get the heck out of here. Plus, I mean, Zangief is in the game, and I feel like if you're gonna have Zangief, you need Rainbow Mika. You can just make her like a faster grappler, which I think is the whole point of her existing, is that she's a faster grappler. So yeah, you know, I think that'd just be interesting. She has a fun character, you know, be cool maybe to see, like, where she ends up in the future, like, following, I guess, the events of her story from Street Fighter V. Because, I mean, hey, why not? Rainbow Mika's fun. And yes, of course, she has a very nice ass. Goes without saying. All right, now here's some characters. I've lumped two characters together. I've done this a couple times because I feel like some characters just kind of work, like talking about them together. And that is Ed and Falk. And I know this might seem like a weird pick, like why Ed and Falk, you know, from Street Fighter V. Here's the thing, right? And I've based a lot of these characters on like the story of Street Fighter 6, whatever it is, in that I think there's not going to be Shadaloo. But the thing about Ed and Falk, right, is the whole concept and potential of Neo Shadaloo, I think is really interesting, especially since after the events of Street Fighter V, Shadaloo's gone, and Bison is gone. I feel like Ed and Falk could be interesting, especially with however JP, who seems to be setting himself up as like the main antagonist of Street Fighter 6, could shake out. Like that could be interesting to have like some kind of connection between Ed and Falk and JP, and just the future work of Neo Shadaloo and how that goes along. So I do feel like Ed and Falk could be interesting characters to add to Street Fighter 6. Alright, next up we have Abigail. Now here's the thing, in the trailer, or I guess the initial teaser for Street Fighter 6, you could see like Abigail's like auto body works shop. So it seems like he might be in the game, or maybe he'll be a background character. I don't know, I mean, he's a big man. I think it'd just be cool to have him. I mean, yeah, you know, you could put Abigail next to Zangief and Marissa, just have him be all beef, and I feel like that'd be kind of funny. Yeah, he just kind of working that style. So yeah, I want to see Abigail. Now here's a character that I know for a fact a lot of people assume probably isn't going to come back, and I really hope he does, is Fang. I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually really like Fang. I mean, don't get me wrong, he sucks, but he sucks in a fun way. He's like Dan Hibiki, if I actually liked Dan Hibiki, but I like Fang for like being the over-the-top ridiculous character he is. Yeah, plus I would just want to see like where he would end up, right after the events of Street Fighter V, no Shadaloo, like, you know, his arc could be interesting. Plus, you know, the whole poison style, like again, I will always advocate for more unique fighting styles in a fighting game, so yeah, why not bring back Fang? I think that'd be cool. Next up, and I'm going to kind of talk about these two characters in tandem, and that is Colin and Urien. And the thing is, right, and this goes also for these, like, I guess kind of next few, I didn't talk about this at the beginning, but I don't really know, like, what are the odds of seeing, like, Street Fighter bosses show up. You know, obviously we're probably going to get to see, like, Balrog and Vega, and that, like, and that lot. But, you know, in the case of, like, Akuma, well, I know we're probably not going to see Bison again, but, you know, like Akuma, Seth, who else? Oh yeah, I guess Akuma, Seth, and Bison. Those are the big ones. Like, we're probably not going to see them, but the thing, like, the most interesting thing with Colin and Urien, if they appear in Street Fighter 6, is I don't know if we're going to see Gil. Like, I really don't think Gil would, like, fit into this more realistic Street Fighter 6 aesthetic. But I feel like Colin and Urien have potential if they're in the game, with like the whole secret society stuff. And I just think like Colin and Urien are like interesting characters, because it's cool to have, you know, not just heroes and villains in a story. It's also good to have like gray area morality characters. And I feel like Colin and Urien could be interesting in that regard. But I guess that's also dependent on whether or not we'll see Gil. I don't know if we'll see only Colin or only Urien or neither of them, but I hope we get to see them, because I think it'd be neat to see them. Next up, Menat. You know, why not Menat? And of course, I don't know if that's like entirely contingent on whether or not Rose is going to be in Street Fighter 6. I don't think Rose is going to be in Street Fighter 6. I think she kind of falls into that category of being a bit too over the top for Street Fighter 6, I think. But Menat, I feel like, has more potential. Plus, I think like she was a fan favorite. You know, she has potential for story stuff. She was liked, so yeah, why not Menat? Alright, next up. Now, here's the thing. So you know how I said Remy was like my #1 pick, and the rest of these picks like have no sort of order to them, you know, and like who I would want? That's actually kind of a lie. Because I actually do have, this would be my #2 pick. If I had 2 votes, my first vote would be Remy, my second vote would be Necalli. And I know Necalli is like he was a massive letdown when Street Fighter V came out and the story mode happened. Like he had huge Street Fighter hype, and like Capcom was pushing him to be like the next great villain of the series, and then like he basically like did nothing and ran away a bunch. Well, you know what? That's exactly the reason why I think Necalli needs to be in Street Fighter 6. I don't exactly know how the hell that would work, because he's like a spirit or something, but he needs redemption. I seriously hope Necalli finds his way into Street Fighter 6. I don't know how they'll do it, but I hope they do it. I mean, hey, if Sylvie Paula Paula can appear in KOF 15, Necalli can appear in Street Fighter 6. I wouldn't put it past anyone, so I really hope Necalli gets his second chance. Alright, next up we have Poison and Hugo. I'm talking about both of them. Now, Hugo, right, again in the teaser trailer for Street Fighter 6, there was that Hugo artwork, like, at the beginning of the teaser. I don't know if that's proof that Hugo is gonna appear in Street Fighter 6. It'd be interesting to see, like, a more realistic take on Hugo. Because, like, he's, I mean, already kind of a weird character, so, like, to see him in, like, the Street Fighter 6 style, I think would be interesting. Same goes with Poison. I feel like if you're gonna have Hugo, you have to have Poison, and like vice versa, because Poison's a popular character too. You know, I feel like people like Hugo, people like Poison, they're iconic in their own right, you know. People have seen them and like associate them with Street Fighter at the very least. So I feel like, you know, it'd just be cool to see them, Poison and Hugo. Why not, right? Alright, I only have 3 more characters to talk about. Next up we have Dudley. I like Dudley, you know, boxer man, gentleman. He's cool. I don't know. He's just a character I hope gets his chance once again in Street Fighter 6. That's all I got. I'll admit I was kind of running out of ideas towards the end there, but I feel like a lot of Third Strike characters need to come back. And Dudley's cool. I mean, why not? Same thing with Elena. I feel like she also needs to come back. She's got the dance. Beats in My Head is a great song. Third Strike, more Third Strike characters, please. She's fun. Yeah, why not? We'll bring back Elena. And finally, now here is a character that's, I have like no idea if this is even possible, or like if this is just like nonsense for me to even bring this up. But yeah, so you know how I said Remy and Necalli were the only 2 votes if I had 2? Here's pick number 3. Ingrid. Yes, that's right, Ingrid. If you have no idea who Ingrid is, look up Ingrid. We need to make Ingrid a real character, and why not put her in Street Fighter 6? She can be my funny joke pick. Why not? I'll bring Ingrid. You know, make her a real character. Why not? I feel like that'd just be funny. But yeah, that's those are all the characters I really hope get into Street Fighter 6 as DLC. I guess barring any new characters Capcom throws in themselves, which would be cool. I guess I'd imagine their DLC plans would probably be maybe like 1 legacy character and 1 new character, like in like a bundle. You know, like they'll release the DLC in like duos, like a pack of 2 characters at a time, which will be like 1 legacy character, 1 new character. I guess if I had to make a guess about like the DLC roadmap, I have no idea what they'll do. But yeah, I guess just to sum up my thoughts, I really hope Remy gets in. He's my first pick. My second pick is Necalli. Hope he gets in. And then my third pick is Ingrid. I hope she gets in because that'd just be funny. And then everyone else, I hope they get their chance. Obviously, like some characters have a much higher chance of getting in as DLC than others. But I wouldn't put it past Capcom to make some fringe picks for this new era. Plus, I feel like a lot of those characters have good story potential, and I feel like Capcom wouldn't want to leave a bunch of story potential on the cutting room floor, especially like with this new direction. They can just look back at the past. It's like, okay, what are some characters we have that we didn't expand on enough? You put them in Street Fighter 6, boom! Free, easy story to just shove in that you don't need to think about. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And once Street Fighter 6 comes out, I don't really know if I'm gonna do like a let's play of sorts for like the story mode world tour. Maybe I'll just do like funny clips and stuff. I'll record it, but I don't think like I'll just upload it as is. I'll probably make some cuts, but hopefully expect that. And we'll just play it by ear. I guess sort of like how it works out, just winging it. like I do with this channel. I just, I wing it, I post videos, and if you guys like them, I'm happy. And if you don't like them, I completely understand, and that's valid. But hey, you know what? Hope you're having a nice day, night, afternoon, wherever you are. And we'll continue with the ramblings another day. Alright, that's it.